Hi, good afternoon, everyone. So today we are going to take first another question, and I'm going to take a 10 marks question today. Okay. The question is the following, that suppose that a consumer in two commodity world has linear indifference curve with a slope equal to minus half. Find out the equilibrium consumption when Px is equal to Py is equal to 2 and income of consumer is 2000. How does equilibrium bundle change? When Px is equal to 1, Py is equal to 4 with same level of income. Now, first of all, try to understand that this is a very simple question and it has been asked for 10 marks. तो मतलब बहुत ज़्यादा heavy weightage दे दी गई है for a very, very basic question, right? Now, in this case, what we will do is we will try to write the answer as explanatory as possible because it's a 10 marks question. Huh? So first of all, let's try to analyze the question. क्या बोल रहा है question? Suppose consumer in a two commodity world has linear indifference curve. So we know that linear indifference curve represent which goods? Substitute goods. Whenever we have a linear indifference curve, linear mane, these are lines, right? So these represent substitute goods. Now we know that the general form, you don't have to write we know everywhere. I'm just writing we know. You will simply start the sentence with general form of utility function of substitute goods. What is the general form? It is uxy is equal to ax plus by. Ax plus by with the slope of indifference curve being MRS, which is mux by muy, which is a by b. I'm just trying to enhance the question a bit because we want to go ahead and we want to secure 10 marks here. Therefore, in this case, because you're given that MRS, it says slope of indifference curve is minus half. Minus is just showing downward sloping. So you are given that the absolute value of MRS is half, right? Which implies that A by B will be half. A by B will be half and your utility function will be of the form x plus 2y. Just I'm writing some extra information. Now, we know for substitute goods, equilibrium condition. Please write substitute goods fully. Huh? Don't write short forms. For substitute goods, equilibrium condition. What's the equilibrium condition, beta? We know this thing. If MRS is greater than Px by Py, so you will consume only good X. If MRS is less than Px by Py, you will consume only good Y. And if MRS is equal to Px by Py, then you can consume either all of good X or Y or a combination of the two. This is your equilibrium condition. Now, isko you can also elaborate a bit more, that all of good X means that X star will be M by Px and Y star will be 0. All of good Y means that X star will be 0 and Y star will be M by Py. And a combination of the two means what, beta? It means that either X star is 0, Y star is M by Py, or X star is M by Px, Y star is 0, or you can have X star any value in between 0 to M by Px. And Y star will be the money spent on the remaining amount. जब हमने X consume कर लिया, so remaining can be Y. Right? So you can elaborate this a bit because this is a 10 marks question. Right? So here now, let's come back to the question now. Here you are given that Px and Py are equal to each other. Right? And both of them are 2. So in this case, Px equal to Py equal to 2. So Px by Py equal to 2 by 2 equal to 1. What is your MRS given in absolute value? MRS is given as half. Okay. So MRS, we will always compare this in absolute value. MRS, which is half, is less than Px by Py. Right? Therefore, because you can also write, since half is less than 1. Half is less than 1. Right? So therefore, consumer will consume all of income on good Y. So X star will be 0 and Y star will be M by Py. Income of the consumer is given as 2000 by 2. That means 1000 units. Okay. So you need to make sure that you explain as much as possible. It's a 10 marks question. And this is a full-fledged explanation with nothing missing in this. Now what you can do is you can finally give a diagram. So MRS is half and Px by Py is 1. So budget line has to be steeper. This is your budget line. One second. Right? So draw a steeper budget line, right? And in that steeper budget line, go ahead and ensure that you go ahead and you mention, you label each of the axes. You label the x-axis, you label the y-axis well. So let's go ahead and let's try to do that. Give me a minute. Okay, so here you go ahead and you mention M by Py. That means this will be 1000. And here you mention M by Px. That means this will also be 1000. And your indifference curve. So please write down the slope of this is 1 in absolute values. Right? Then you can mention that if you don't want to write an absolute value, just write -1. Huh? Then you draw some ICs, which will be flatter because the slope of indifference curve is half. Right? And this is you can just mention here itself. So I'm going to take this a little here. Budget line, slope, -1, ICs, slope, -half, highest indifference curve reached. What you're doing here? All of good Y consumed. So at the highest indifference curve that you have reached, you are going ahead and consuming all of good Y, and this is your equilibrium point also, right? So you can say that point E represents the equilibrium point. Just imagine, here I am explaining you. Even after giving you full-fledged explanation, after explaining you each and every step, how to do, what to do, then also it took me only 10 minutes to write this answer for 10 marks. That means it will not take you more than 7-8 minutes, right? And you are giving a full-fledged excellent answer. So make sure to get the speed. Make sure that you write in a beautiful handwriting. And make sure that you mention each and everything according to the marks dedicated to the question. Right? Now, let us go ahead and let us take the second part. So I'm leaving this to you. You will be able to do this also. How does the equilibrium bundle change when Px is 1 and Py is 4 with the same level of income? Right? Okay, let's start. So, case 2. If Px is 1 and Py is 4. Now you don't have to do everything again. ऐसा नहीं है कि step 1 से you will rewrite everything down. You have already explained everything. You have already explained how to solve this kind of question, how to find the equilibrium condition. So now you can skip through those points and you can come directly on what the question is asking, right? So imagine it like this, that the first part would have contained, because the breakage is not given, so the first part would have been approximately of 6 to 7 marks, right? And the second part would have been for 2 to 3 marks, right? Because it is, if someone has answered the first part correctly, right, the examiner knows that they know the concept, they know things well, right? And if they know things well, then we are sure that the second part will also be correct. So no need to go ahead and explain these things again. So you can just begin in this case now, that you are given that Px is 1 and Py is 4. So Px by Py will be 1 by 4. Comparing the slope of budget line with difference curve in absolute value, right? What do you get? So Px by Py is less than MRSXY. Px by Py, here in this case, it is less